को बोलो आराम से चलाए गाड़ी.
थोड़ा आराम से चलाओ.
Yeah, I think that's our echo point actually.
Because that's the actual echo point and it's a little better.
So then maybe this is the spot where Jay lands, right? He's like, what am I doing here? And you still have these nice cliffy cliff.
What?
Try it! Forget!
Cut it! And that's done.
I think the idea of love really came from a personal heartbreak, a personal pain. I was dealing with something I didn't quite know how to process, and maybe a smarter person would have gone to a therapist or psychiatrist. Instead, I chose to get into my laptop and write this little story. And I just remember feeling the urgency of this thing and how heartfelt and honest it was. And I remember having this sixth sense that I mustn't stop it. Whatever it is, just let it keep going. And 5 days later, I had a first draft of Love. And I remember never experiencing anything like it. A finished feature film, a bad first draft, but at least a first draft. It wasn't until I went back home for the holidays 3 months later that I pulled this thing out. And I was scared out of my mind because I didn't really want to know if it was good or bad. And day by day, bit by bit, I started chipping away at it. My goal was I must have a narration of this script by the time I'm back. So I set that deadline for myself and just sort of set off. I had met Arfi and Katharina and this company, Bombay Berlin, at Film Bazaar Goa, which is sort of a convention of film professionals that takes place every year in Goa. So when I came back, the first phone call I made was to Arfi. So Arfi set up a narration for himself.
And Sudhanshu gave us one of the most beautiful narrations of my life. I've been an actor, we've been producing stuff. Narrations and reading scripts have been like a part of almost everyday life. And this was one narration that made me see the film in front of me.
One of the most spiritual, surreal moments for me during the narration was when the guys go into the Four Seasons and you have that big tussle between Jay and Sahil. Arfi's place is in this very Muslim neighborhood and there are 3 mosques in the area, and the call for prayers, the azan, started in the evening just as these two had finished in my narration, gotten to that place and finished that moment. And I remember getting goosebumps because that whole thing was so raw.
I don't know what he was expecting, but the moment I heard the narration and 5 minutes later I said, we are doing this film.
Why would this company that hadn't backed a full-length feature on their own as producer pick this unlikely, unreleasable project that was, most likely going to get censored or banned in India and back this as their first film?
A week down the line, Sudhanshu calls me up. I think he was more scared than me regarding what I'm doing. So he calls me up to this cafe and we're having coffee and he's like, we are friends. I can't do this to you. What happened? He's like, this film is very different film from the kind of cinema you do,
I know they liked me, I know they believed in me, but I was still at the end of the day a first-time director. I don't think I was going to be able to attract any kind of saleable names to the project. Moreover, I don't think saleable actors are looking to do a script like this.
I was like, what's wrong with him? I seriously, for that moment I was thinking not that, of course the intention was to be a friend, what's wrong? This is one project that's one of the rare projects that I've heard and I've said yes.
I've worked enough on the business end of things to be realistic Anyway, now that Arfi had said he wants to do this, I had to go about trying to sort of put this thing together.